the lessons learned out of the Ebola crisis in West Africa show that faith leaders plays a crucial role in the local response, and we're on the front line of multilateral cooperation. It is in line of this that the co-organizer decided to co-write and publish a practical toolkit for engaging with local faith actors and communities, hoping this will be considered useful for a better informed and stronger engagement by international organizations, policymakers, as well as donors.
At the World Bank, we are keenly aware that no single organization can solve these complex issues we are facing right now. So partnerships are critical. We are engaging partners in everything that we are doing. To achieve this more resilient recovery with equitable benefits, we need to engage every entity, from governments, the private sector, civil society, and most so the faith-based organizations. We are deeply aware that faith actors are uniquely positioned to do 4 things. 1, elicit behavior change. They also inform social norms. They enhance governance and accountability. And above all, promote peace building, which we have seen, especially around building peaceful homes during COVID-19. These lines of actions have never been more important than now. Even in a time when we all are constrained with travel, faith actors are in the communities and they're working towards achieving our desired goals of ending extreme poverty and boosting shared prosperity. Once again, thank you to EU Code, ACT Alliance, Caritas Europa, and Islamic Relief Worldwide for organizing this webinar and for inviting the World Bank in this dialogue.
So let me talk to you through Yemen. Since 2015, Yemen has been devastated by conflict. You all know that, leaving millions of people without access to proper healthcare, clean water, or sanitation, crucial for preventing the virus from spreading. Already, Yemen is one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, and with the impact of COVID adding to the situation, things are only yet to get worse. So we specifically, during this period, have worked very closely with imams who not only distribute this through their mosque networks, but also reading this out in their daily sermons. So for those of us who understand the Muslim context, instead of the imams shouting, "Come to prayer," the imam says, "Stay at home." And I think that's an important message, simply because the loudspeakers that they are using in order to call people to prayer is now using the loudspeakers to tell people to stay at home. So that illustrates the very importance of what Mercy mentioned, as well as what Edla spoke about, the importance of communication in times of crisis like this.
Religion in Nigeria, and by extension religious leaders, have a strong role in the political and social life of the country. And in addition, it's been said before, religious organizations also are providing a lot of basic services to their members, from education to health, in a country where the state is often unable to provide these services.
We highlighted some challenges that we have faced, especially in response to pandemics like Ebola or even COVID right now. Misinformation is one of them. The second challenge has been lack of coordination, especially at country level. The third one is lack of proof of concept. The fourth is lack of capacity for some of the FBOs, but also capacity on our side to understand how FBOs work. The fifth one is limited presence in policy dialogues. It's really important for faith-based actors not to just talk to themselves, but be present when policy dialogues are taking place.
What for us, when we were looking at the trust and the trusted role of religious and traditional peacemakers, in their communities, what was that they are really the trusted deliverers of information. And how do we work then so that the information that is provided is accurate and correct, that these religious and traditional actors are disseminating? And how do we also make sure that these voices that are providing the correct information are multiplied, and that they have the needed support to actually disseminate the messages in the wideness that is required? At the local level, there are also mistrust towards authorities, and that should be paid attention to and worked with, so that we don't assume that information trickle down automatically when shared. What we see commonly across South Asia and many other countries as well is that the religious minorities or minority populations, be they ethnic also, or in some contexts refugees, they are facing a lot of hate speech and being blamed for the pandemic and its spreading. And of course, gender-based violence and violence happening home has been also highlighted as one important area to be paid attention to as well.
As many of you know, that Yemen is one of those crises that is cross-sectarian, and highlighting the importance of engaging with faith leaders in both of these communities, or actually more than both of those communities, was part of the public communications campaign that we had as Islamic Relief.
And so this fragmented picture means that there is quite a lot of competition also between religious organizations in the country, competition to have an audience, but also competition in the public sphere between religious leaders. There are also, I mean, you're familiar with the main also conflict in Nigeria currently, the Boko Haram Islamic State conflict, which has a great impact on the northeast of the country, with a lot of violence being perpetrated for the last 10 years. And more generally in Nigeria, you have an history of religion being used as a mobilizing factor by different people to actually gather people to engage in violence.
So religious and religious actors also see them including, of course, women and youth of faith. So not only religious leaders alone. They are in a really key role in sharing information, and they are in the communities, and they will be continuing to stay there beyond the COVID-19 and current responses.
The impact on young people and what they're facing, not only in humanitarian settings like Ala in Palestine, but all those many young people all over the world who are in limbo at the moment. The second impact I wanted to mention was the loss of jobs, particularly for women who are taking on the role of carers for many family members. And finally, the third aspect I want to mention is the mental health aspect. Faith needs are often gendered ones. Across religions, men and women both have common and different needs associated with their religious identities, beliefs, and practice. And finally, please ensure that the gender analysis is included in gendered religious needs.
So I would say that these are two very important areas of work that were mentioned today, but maybe there are two areas of work that I personally would like to be expanded, and maybe could be the focus of a future webinar if you do intend to have one. So on one side, the inclusion of women and youth into the process, working with religious leaders, and on the other side, how to do the interfaith work, and exactly what are the examples and in which situation this interfaith work can bring most benefits.
So the recent visit I had to DRC was, we were designing country partnership framework for DRC. And we invited more than 50 FPOs on the table to be part of decisions that were being made for that country. So that is building capacity, understanding how the bank operates, but also faith actors giving us what actually the needs that are assessed at country level or ground level are.
And interestingly, what you can see also in Nigeria is that sometimes some of the leaders or religious organizations can promote peacemaking and peace building, and sometimes on other occasions also have a divisive discourse.
I think that a lot has emerged, and it is clear that faith-based organizations have been crucial in supporting communities, in adapting messages to the community context, in promoting behavioral change, especially changing, adapting religious practices, as we're seeing in the case of Yemen, in giving and fighting misinformation and giving good information to communities, in providing cohesion, inclusiveness, and solution in the short term, So they played a very important role. And this is something that it has been recognized, and it has been effective in the way it was done.